Yeah. It is time. You will not survive. Let's fucking do it.
What's up, everybody? This is the PlayStation Lifestyle Underground Podcast. We are an unofficial podcast at the PlayStationLifestyle.net forums. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz _420. And I got two other guys with me today. You guys want to say hello?
Yeah, hi, I'm Steven Bitto. I'm the community manager for PlayStation Lifestyle. You can find me on the PlayStation Network as TYLERxDURDEN, and you can find me on the PlayStation Lifestyle forums as Steven Bitto.
And hey guys, I'm Juan, and you can find me on PSN as Jakman1997, and on the forums for PlayStation Lifestyle as Juan Ibarra.
Cool. Lately, still playing on Ratchet & Clank, but the past 2 days I've actually been playing a lot of Axiom Verge on the Vita. I got that when it came out, and liking it so far, which is surprising because usually don't like 8-bit games or games of this type, but it's actually really good. So, I've been playing that. Also, a little bit of Uncharted with remote play on the Vita. But on PS4, I've been playing Project Cars, Fallout 4, Ratchet & Clank, like I already said, Sebastian Loeb Rally Evo. I tried the Doom multiplayer beta again. Still don't like it. Rocket League, of course, and I think that's basically it. What have you guys been playing lately?
When I got back from LA earlier this week, I finished my Platinum Trophy run on Lego Jurassic World.
Cool.
Which, that's my first Lego game. It was pretty fun. I like all the stupid little collecting, missions and just easy story stuff. Like, nothing's too complicated, nothing's too deep. I didn't mind it. It's actually really good for flying, too. And then after that, I was going to start Ratchet & Clank, but just having Severed on my Vita, I was like, I'm in Vita mode right now. I'm just going to stick with the Vita, so I just played Severed. And
Cool.
I got through it and platinumed it yesterday, actually.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Can't wait to play that one.
Yeah, pretty jealous about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I think you guys are probably going to enjoy it, but you kind of wait and see on that.
So they made the touchscreen thing work, huh?
Yeah, I would say so.
All
Cool.
right. Looking forward to that one. Let's see. As far as what I've been playing, I've sort of gone away from playing my usual games, and I just went to playing a bunch of very easy, just pick up and play games, like a lot of Rocket League and a lot of Risk of Rain. And that's really it. I just haven't had a lot of time, so the time I do have, I just play something really easy that I can play for like a good half hour and then quit and leave.
Interesting. Sometimes I get in that kind of mood, too. Rocket League is definitely one of the go-to games for that.
Yeah.
And Killzone, for me at least. But, this week we wanted to do another, game podcast, or just a podcast about a game, because we've done 2 so far. Like, me and Steve did Fallout, me and Brian did Metal Gear Solid. Both of them were wicked fun, I thought, and seemed like great topics. So tonight we wanted to do Bioshock. I personally, I loved Infinite a lot, and the DLC. It's one of the best DLCs. I liked the first one, but it wasn't quite as cracked up to be as I thought it was, or it wasn't as good as it was cracked up to be. I mean, and I don't know. I think we have discussed this before. I think we did a podcast of overrated games. We discussed it, and that was one of mine. which is probably a controversial opinion because most people love the first Bioshock. I think you guys do generally, right?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one. It totally sucked me in.
First one was pretty good. I played it a little later, like 2012, 2013. No, not even then. 2014 probably is when I played it, and a little dated, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I actually played it in like 2011, but I had been going through like earlier PS3 gen stuff, like Dead Space. I think I had played like right before it. So the issue of it being dated wasn't an issue for me, but I don't know. I just like the environment was like just not my cup of tea. Like it was very oppressing, but not. I don't know. It's really weird to explain. Part of it is though, like I didn't entirely like the gameplay that much. Like and I don't know. Like I've tried to replay it on PC. Just because of the better visuals, obviously, and I just could not get into it once again. And Bioshock is relevant because I think they're actually doing a remastered collection, or I don't know if that's still a rumor. Oh,
yeah, it's still a rumor.
Actually,
it is still a rumor.
It got really solid evidence this past 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. So it looks like it's
the box art and
imminent
stuff?
for
Yeah.
A bunch of rating boards rated it, so it's got to be coming this summer, I imagine.
Yeah.
I'm shocked they haven't announced it yet.
I almost confused it with Batman, which actually did get officially announced, I think, for their remaster.
Did it really get officially announced? Because I don't...
Pretty sure it was
Actually,
official.
I don't think it did.
It wasn't official?
No, it was... Well, it's leaked
date.
through a GameStop employee, and they have like an email that has all the information.
I misunderstood.
It's absolutely real, and it's absolutely coming soon. It just hasn't been officially announced.
Okay, crap. I misunderstood that then. I thought it was like official and already... whatever. But, so yeah, like, possibly I'll try to give it one more shot with that collection. Like, because it would be better to play it on PS4 than PC. But, yeah, just, I did like... I was intrigued by the story, which is why I did play the whole way through it, but just wasn't a huge fan of it. And I typically love games like that. I typically love like survival horror style games, which it kind of was like that, sort of. Also, atmospheric games. I mean, one of my favorite game series of all time is Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light, and those are incredibly atmospheric and survival horror oriented and like story based. Kind of like Bioshock, but very different subject matter. But I don't know, for whatever reason, I just didn't enjoy Bioshock 1. But you guys did, right? So, how do you guys think that Bioshock 1 fits in the series? Do you think it's the best one?
Yeah, I do, honestly. And I think it's kind of funny how most of my opinions are basically like the opposite of what you had. Was that like the atmosphere I thought was awesome. Like I love the claustrophobic underwater like feel of it all. I thought the story was really good. The twist was good. I thought like there's a lot of really iconic stuff. Like I see a lot of T-shirts still with references to the first one, and it's just so iconic. Like little quotes and stuff that is just so perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the plasmids were handled really well. I thought the enemies, that's what I liked more about them. That's why I liked the first two better than I liked Infinite, was I thought the enemies were a little more like terrifying. Like they felt like a little more,
for sure, yeah.
They're psychotic. So it's just like, it's more, you feel like you're in danger.
More dangerous, yeah.
Like, right, yeah. Like in the second one, I felt like these are all like kind of idiot people that I can just like barrel over. I never really felt like I was in trouble really at all. But in the first one, it really felt like you were cornered and you were in trouble if you got into like a bad spot with too many of them.
Yeah,
definitely.
The original one, it certainly had a very specific atmosphere, but I mean, sort of Infinite. The atmosphere in both of them is pretty well done, but I'd say Bioshock is on a different level, just because, like you said about the oppressive atmosphere. I think that was what they were going for. You know, you're underwater in these tunnels, at the bottom of the ocean. It's just it's a very bleak atmosphere. I mean, it works for a survival horror game, which is pretty much what that is. And the more time that passes, the more I realize that I really respect for the original Bioshock for what it is, because comparing it to Infinite, the plasmids in the first one were, I guess, better balanced, and there were not enough of them that were diverse enough to where I would use them all, as opposed to an Infinite. I didn't really use I stuck to two or three of them.
You use them way less, in Infinite.
Yeah, and then also
I used them way less at least.
And like what Steven said about the enemies in Infinite, it felt like it was just waves of enemies coming at me, like whole armies. I just, you destroy them, and then it's like, I remember that the last third of that game really feels like a slog of Infinite, because there's, after that fight with the ghost, you fight a ghost in that game, I think is what happened. After you fight a ghost in Infinite, like a ghost boss, you fight a bunch of waves of enemies, and it's a real slog to get through, because it's just waves and waves and waves, as opposed to the original one, which is sort of, the enemies are very evenly dispersed. The mechanics are obviously better in Infinite, but that's just sort of a time thing. Not really, I can't really knock it for that.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I kind of preferred the more action-oriented gameplay of Infinite. But yeah, I mean, you definitely make valid points about the first one, and I feel like maybe one of the other reasons for me not liking the first one as much as I should have is the fact that it's one of the many games which wouldn't let me switch the analog sticks, and I think I've told you guys about this. I play Southpaw, I aim with the left stick, that's just what I'm used to do, but especially back then, because that was when I had first got a PS3, pretty much. Well, I think I had it for a year, and I think the only game I had played with the sticks on default, aiming with the right stick, was Dead Space. And I got through that game okay, but I think, actually the enemies are kind of similar because they're crazy and they come right at you, but I don't know, I feel like they might move a little quicker in Bioshock, so I don't know, maybe difficulty was part of the reason why I didn't quite enjoy myself with it. The difficulty of aiming
first and third person, did that present extra challenges too?
No, not at all. I've played other games, aiming with the. I played tons of games aiming with the wrong stick, well, the right stick, whatever you want to call it, and default, whatever. And it never ruined the games for me. But Bioshock, maybe it did. I don't know. But there's a lot of things I respect about it. Like you said, the twist I thought was excellent. I thought the story was good. I mean, that was another issue I had with it, is the way it was presented. A lot of the dialogue was presented through radio messages from, Atlas or whatever, and I didn't like that about it. Because, they were hard to understand. I remember I had to adjust the audio to be, the voice was, at 100, everything else was at, 10, just so I could hear what they're saying a lot of the times. And, I don't know. And, you mentioned about the atmosphere being oppressive, there are a lot of games I've played with oppressive atmospheres, a lot of horror games, Soma, Alien Isolation, Metro I mentioned. But for whatever reason, Bioshock was an oppressive way that I couldn't enjoy it. I don't know why. It's just, I don't know, maybe it was the very creepy kind of 50s type weirdness of it. I don't know. I really want to give it a second chance, though, now that we talk about it, a third chance, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, it's a very iconic game, like you mentioned, and, I don't know, I feel like I have to give it another chance just because everyone loves it except me, so I gotta be the problem. And especially on PS4, like I mentioned, it'll be better to play on PS4 just because but also the fact of being able to switch the analog sticks is really cool. Thank you, Sony, for that. But what's it called? Let's go on to the second game. I played like quite a bit of it, but I didn't finish it, and did try the multiplayer a bit. But the reason I didn't finish that one is because I just wasn't into the story. Like it wasn't nearly as interesting to me as the first one. Like I didn't have as many issues with the second one as far as like the atmosphere or the gameplay. Like, but what I did have a problem with it, I was just not motivated to play because the story wasn't there, which is pretty much the opposite of the first one for me. But what did you guys think of the second one?
Like I was saying, I felt that the gameplay of the second one was like way more polished, and it really took a lot of those ideas from Bioshock 1 and made them just better.
Yeah.
And like the way I described it before was that nothing in Bioshock 1 struck me as bad, but in Bioshock 2 it felt like these were the more ideal versions of those ideas. So all the plasmids, all the like effects of them were so much more creative, and like Juan, you were saying, there was a lot more reason to use all of them. So like you were using like a lot of different creative things to do a lot of different creative types of attacks on enemies. You know, with different types of effects. Especially, could you combine some too, or something like that? Or maybe I'm just making that up. But I thought that, you know, cycling through all of them, it just made the gameplay more diverse, and it made the whole fighting the crazy people better. The story, on the other hand, was pretty bad, I thought. I hated how it like tied in stuff from Bioshock 1 too, because I felt like it was kind of diverting the story of 1, and it was like kind of distorting what you thought you knew, and I didn't like that. I like that being its own thing, and I wish this would have been its own thing too.
Yeah, I felt like 2 was a lot less compelling.
I didn't
you guys
play 2.
No. Okay, so I guess that would be a no to the question I was about to ask. But Steve, did you happen to try the multiplayer at all?
I did a little bit because I think there was a trophy. Was there trophies for that?
I think there was, yeah.
And that's why I
Pretty
kind of
sure.
got into it, and then I was like, I don't even really enjoy this that much.
Actually, I did play the multiplayer for that for a short time. I played like the first hour of the game in the multiplayer. And what I can say about the multiplayer, because the story, the reason why I stopped playing the story was because it didn't attach. I wasn't really like attached to it as I was the original. But multiplayer, what I can say about that is it felt like one of those games during that time period whenever every game had multiplayer just to have it, and it felt tacked on and just felt like very unbalanced and didn't really feel necessary in any way. Reminds me of Tomb Raider that had multiplayer too. That wasn't necessary.
I'd say it's worse than Tomb Raider.
You'd say it's worse than Tomb Raider, or are you saying Tomb Raider is worse than?
No, I'd say Bioshock 2. It's at least to me. I didn't spend a lot of time. It seemed more unbalanced than Tomb Raider to me, at least.
But that's fair. Yeah, there's a lot of different factors to go in it, and it's just that was a time period that was a lot of unnecessary things with multiplayer. I'm glad we're not in that anymore. But yeah, that's really all I can say about Bioshock 2.
All right.
Oh, one more thing I would add about 2 is that the big sisters, those are actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, that was cool. That's
the way
for
they
sure.
took that kind of menacing steel version of the Big Daddy, but made it like quick and
Way
nimble.
quicker,
Like that was kind
yeah.
of terrifying.
Yeah, that was awesome. I have to admit that was one really cool part of it. For sure.
Oh wait. Also, I have one more thing to say. This relates more to the first one than does this one. But what I don't get is, spoiler alert for a game that's like 20 years old. I don't know how old this game is. 10 years old? What is
Yeah,
it? A little over 10?
Still important to say spoiler alert first, but go ahead.
All right. Yeah. For the original one, like at the very end of that game, like whenever you're in the children's area, I believe, and you have to go get every single piece to make a Big Daddy so that you become a Big Daddy. That's probably like one of the best moments in gaming I ever had. I don't know why. It was just there was so much emphasis put on like how important this was and how huge of a deal this was. And then like the second one, you're a Big Daddy. It just feels like that. Feels weird to have like such a big thing at the end of the original
Climax,
one.
Yeah.
And the climax, and then the second one is just like, oh yeah, do you remember that really crazy moment in the first one? It's not as crazy anymore because you're playing as it for the whole game. Here you go.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. That was like kind of. In some ways, I felt like it kind of maybe made the gameplay better, but in other ways, I don't know. It just didn't quite feel right either.
Yeah.
Not sure. It's been a little while since I've played those games, but Infinite, I played when it came out because it actually came with my old graphics card, and actually really liked that game. It was definitely a lot of fun to play, but the biggest thing was just the story was awesome. Especially towards the end. Like, I really fucking enjoyed that one. You guys had played that, right?
Played Infinite?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Infinite. Infinite was it was good. The story was interesting. Felt more character based than it did world based, like the original one. Like the world was its own character in Bioshock 1, and then the characters were their own characters in Infinite, for lack of a better word there.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
It was more character driven.
Just that Rapture was such a good world. It had character in it. And then what was the name of the second one, or of the
Columbia
Infinite world? Yeah, Columbia. Yeah, it did too, but something about it just didn't feel as special. It didn't feel as grand, like the spectacle wasn't there as much as it was like the city under the ocean.
I kind of felt like it was there, but I see you're definitely somewhat agree with you, but I thought it was kind of because you're in a floating city, and I mean it was very cool to look at. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is cool. There are some moments whenever you're on a what is it? It's like a cart. So you remember, it's like a cart. You're going up to it's like a statue or something. It's like
yeah,
you're going to it's like an angel statue.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. That did make it seemed pretty big, pretty grand.
There were a lot of just seeing the buildings in general floating was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Also,
at the same time, it's definitely not as iconic as Rapture, though. See your point with that. I did like Columbia a lot, though, and I preferred it. As far as an atmosphere, I just enjoyed myself more. I think I mentioned before, I just didn't like the atmosphere of Rapture. Although when I played it in the Burial at Sea DLC, I actually really liked it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I actually really liked Columbia, as a place, as a city. What did you guys think of all the time travel and alternate dimension type stuff? I mean, that's not entirely a spoiler, but if we're gonna get into some of the more bigger details, then we should definitely make sure we warn people.
This is gonna spoil it, sure.
But what did you guys think about that? Because personally, I really enjoy when shows have that sort of thing going on, like time travel or stuff like that. But what do you guys think of the whole story?
Honestly, I usually hate it when stories do that, because usually there's just too many threads to tie together, and
Mm.
I almost can't even think of one show or game or movie that's ever done it really well. There's always huge plot holes because it's too hard to do accurately, is what it really would be based on the rules they set up.
Yeah. That's fair.
So like,
yeah.
I felt like Infinite wasn't really above that either. I felt like the first couple you do were cool, but then I was like, this is getting like too out of hand. You're too far away from where you were, and it just is too out of control.
I did like the time travel stuff, but a little bit of that was broken for me because I got spoiled of the game like a few days before I played it. So like I knew the eventual ending and what
that sucks.
Yeah, it
Spoiler
was like a one sentence that I read online that was like you are Comstock.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if someone's listening to this and
well, I did kind of say spoiler alert before. You said that,
exactly,
because I knew it was coming.
Yeah, it was just it kind of ruined it for me. But I mean, I did appreciate learning how to get from A or how we got from A to B in that instance. So yeah, It was pretty interesting. I did like the whole scene whenever you are following Elizabeth through like the lighthouses.
Yeah,
so that was cool. The what was it that there's always a man, a lighthouse, and a city, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really fascinating concept, and I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
and then a few years later, they shut down Irrational. Right? Was that Irrational?
Yeah, or they shut down. I know that what's his name, the Ken Levine left or whatever. Like he's not there, or they might have closed down, or they're not making Bioshock anymore, which is
yeah. And I was like, well, okay, well, there goes all that I was excited for. So
yeah, because I mean, I really thought that that was such an interesting story. Like, I mean, it was one of the. I thought personally, I think it was like my number 2 or 3 game of that year. I mean, that was 2013, which was a very good year for games. What's the name? Last of Us came out. Metro Last Light, Brothers. There were a few games, and Bioshock was high. I felt like if it wasn't for Last of Us, Bioshock Infinite could have been a lot of people's game of the year.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was a really good game. And there was like just all that time travel stuff I thought was really cool. I thought that they did do a good job with it. I felt like they tied up enough loose ends for me to be satisfied. And personally, I was I could see it coming. Spoiler alert that you're Comstock. But for some reason, I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want it to be true. So when you find out that it is true, it just I don't know. It's pretty shocking and weirdly emotional for me too. I don't know why. I don't know. I really enjoyed that game. I've only played it once, but I did play the DLC afterwards, which is really. There are some DLC expansions I haven't played, but I think it's one of the best ever. I know Mass Effect gets mentioned a lot for great DLCs. Also, of course, Half-Life 2, Episode 1 and 2, definitely up there. But, I really love the Burial at Sea DLC. Did you guys, are you fortunate enough to have played it, or no?
I actually didn't play either, unfortunately.
Juan?
Alright. I did play it. And I played it, a few months ago, actually. It was good.
Cool.
I really enjoyed it. It was, I'm trying to think how to say this.
I think we can avoid spoiling.
Yeah.
You can spoil it. I'm never going to play it.
You're never going to play it? You should play it.
You should. I mean, we don't, the basic thing is you do go back to Rapture before, the whole, chaos happened, like before Rapture got destroyed and, ended up in the state that it was in when you got there in Bioshock 1. You go there before that, and you get to see, like, some of the events that lead up to that. I mean, we don't have to go into detail to spoil it for you, but as you can imagine, that could end up being very cool.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm trying to remember some big...
Because there were a lot of tie-ins to the first one, and also it did deal with time travel again, of course. But,
it dealt with the multiple universe thing,
reality
as well.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Universe, whatever. But it was super cool. One of the interesting things about it, though, is the second part of it. There was a lot of stealth gameplay.
That second part was fascinating.
Yeah.
Just for from the gameplay perspective compared to part 1 and the base game, it was very different, and
totally different.
I really liked that.
Me too. I had a good time with it. Like it was definitely really cool, and it was a change of pace, but it ended up working out well. I thought I feel like stealth is something that is easy to screw up, or just not do it well enough for it to be really enjoyable. And I feel like a lot of games have tried stealth, and maybe not failed, but just not done it the way that it should be done. But I felt like they did a pretty good job with it, and I'm pretty picky when it comes to stealth. I thought they did pretty good.
And then also to go back to part 1, they did a pretty good job about bringing back the same feeling of anxiety you get from the original Bioshock.
Yeah.
As far as atmosphere goes, and as far as the gameplay of a survival horror game. It feels like you're playing the original Bioshock game again, from gameplay and just setting and stuff. It's really cool.
Graphics and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because I played it on PC.
Well, there you go.
It does look pretty good on PC.
Yeah.
But it was really cool just going back to Rapture and seeing what it was like before the fall, and also you run into a lot of characters that were from the first one. So it's a really cool DLC, and I think you should definitely play it, Steve, if you have a chance.
Well, hopefully they have it with the
collection.
Collection, then I'll play all of it.
I assume they will, right?
That'd be weird if they didn't, and they sold it separately from the two.
So weird. Well, I don't think they'd charge again for it, but I think it would be weird if they left it out. Just
that'd be
obviously
odd.
put a lot of money into it, and it was I think it took me at least 8 hours to beat both parts.
Yeah, it was long.
So it would be kind of shocking if they didn't include that, because it's such a substantial part of a game that they worked on. So I'd be surprised if they didn't put that in. But there was a Bioshock game planned for PS Vita, apparently.
Yeah, there was.
But according to, I think Ken Levine may have admitted this, but it wasn't Bioshock as we know it. It was more like a Final Fantasy Tactics type thing.
Yeah, it was.
A strategy type.
Yeah.
Which I would have been cool with. That's interesting.
What about you, Steve? What do you think?
I would have liked it. I think on Vita it would have been really good, actually.
Yeah, I'm not...
Yeah.
I've never been into the whole tactics genre or games like that. So I was a little disappointed by that revelation. Although the game was never going to come out anyways, but I was kind of hoping that it would be like a first person on the Vita shooter, because we always could use more of those. There's not a whole lot of them, and I don't know, the Vita. It's just that's just one of the many examples of games that just got canceled, or Vita just not getting the support it's there. Although this month, and the past couple of months, we've actually been getting a good amount of games for Vita. There were some games that came out of nowhere, but also this month, Severed. Next week, Axiom Verge came out 2 days ago. So it's not too bad to own a Vita, but it's a little disappointing to see all the AAA games like fall to the wayside, pretty much. But that's a completely different topic. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like, you guys have any other thoughts about Bioshock? Like, do you think that if they did stay together, that they could have done a sequel?
Well, they can still do one. 2K owns the IP, I think, so
Oh, that's
they
true.
can still do sequels.
Yeah, which I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't, considering it's such a big name. But we'll have to see what happens with that, because
And honestly, I
who knows where we'll go.
think they probably want to, and I think they're probably glad that Ken Levine is out of the way, because that Infinite took so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the ultimate final product could have been done a lot faster. I think he had to scale back his vision like a ton.
Yeah,
It seemed
sort
to
of
have
like
changed
a small
quite a bit.
Kojima type of thing there.
You guys don't listen to the Game Informer podcast, do you?
I do.
Did you hear his interview with them? He did an interview with them, and he actually talked about it and like about the development process, and he kind of touched on just how his vision for it was so grand, and it sounded crazy. I can't really remember all the details, but it did sound insane. But it makes a lot of sense why it took so long, and then it kind of crashed together, and I think they had to start from scratch almost.
Yeah, I think I read one time that wasn't it supposed to be a lot more of an open world than it was?
Yeah, it was supposed to be like an open world.
And that was the reasoning why what's it called, the hook things, the hook rails things. So that's a big reason why they were there, to get from place to place faster. But in the end, they couldn't get it done, so they made it more structured. Based.
Right.
I gotta say I'm glad, because I loved I liked how it was. But that would be kind of interesting too, like imagining it being open world, and that makes sense a lot. Like that, that could be why it took them so long. It's because they had to switch over the game almost completely. Because they could obviously use a lot from the original open world concept, but turning an open world game into a linear game is, I'm sure it's not an easy task. Especially if you want to make one as
so much
good.
wasted work.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially if you want to make one as good as Infinite ended up being. So it's like,
right? I'm sure they left so much on the cutting room floor, just to make it work.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So although they did delay it, I'm glad that the game just ended up being awesome. Still, the other thing is like the voice acting I thought was really good on that. Like Troy Baker, I think that was one of Troy Baker's like first big video game roles, as far as I know. Like,
yeah, that was around the time whenever he was doing the whole
every game that
pretty
year.
much. Yeah, he had The Last of Us. He had that. He had something else, some other stuff.
Yeah, there were other games for sure. But yeah, no, it's cool. Like voice acting seems to just keep getting better and better. And it was nice to see that they had that strike, and I think that they got what they wanted. Maybe, I'm not sure. I didn't really follow up on that story.
I didn't follow up on that, so I don't know.
I feel like if we didn't hear anything worse about it, that they got what they wanted.
I assume they did get what they wanted if we didn't hear. I thought I heard that maybe they.
I don't know.
Maybe they did. Like, I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like they deserve it because voice acting is like super important. They use it a lot, and yeah, it's nice to see them get paid what they deserve, especially the ones that we see time and time again and always do a great job, like Nolan North, Troy Baker, Laura Bailey, people like that.
And
What's the other guy? Robin.
On top of that, as well, is that now like your visual, like your appearance is so big a part of your character as well. So like it's almost not even voice acting at this point. It's almost like real acting.
Yeah.
Like you're there. Especially if you look at Troy, like some of the biggest characters of the last 2 years have been they look like they're Troy. You could see it right in the face. It's Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in Advanced Warfare. Like, it literally looked just like him. Like,
Same thing with, who was he in Metal Gear Solid 5?
Oh, Ocelot.
Yeah, it looks exactly like Troy.
And just like Delson, Infamous.
Right, Delson too.
Yeah,
you can see it
Delson
right in
did
his
look
face.
Yeah.
quite a bit like him. But I don't know if you guys have played Advanced Warfare, the campaign, but it looks identical, and that game had some of the best facial animation and character models I think I've ever seen, especially depending on the lighting. There were certain lighting situations where it looked real, literally real. Other times it didn't look quite so good. But
screens.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey as well.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I was thinking
of. It
of.
looked like the real him, in certain points. But, yeah, no.
Alright, so, really quick, before we wrap this thing up, what do you guys think, would be a good next step for the franchise?
Maybe...
Because honestly, I feel
a city in space?
I feel like it's coming. I feel like that's what's coming with the collection announcement.
Yeah.
Would make sense, yeah.
I think you'll get both at E3.
Would make a lot of sense.
Or maybe the collection just before E3.
I think we're gonna get an announcement of the collections, and then right after that, get an announcement for something else Bioshock related. Probably E3. But we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as settings though, where do you think they could go? Space, underground.
Underground would be interesting.
That's what I was thinking too. Just because Metro is so cool. I can imagine them doing an underground city. That would be pretty cool too.
What if it's a normal city, but I don't know, society's a little different. They make it more of a... I don't know. I'm trying to brainstorm here, but I don't know because I don't write the games.
yeah, it's not an easy job, I'm sure.
No,
yeah. And I'm sure part of me feels that they would rope in the feeling of Bioshock 1 and 2 more, where everything was a little more out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it was underground, we were saying, it definitely... It would
right, there's some kind of irrational something, whether it's fear or something.
Yeah, it's starting to remind me more and more of Metro, which I like. Makes me want to play it. But if it was in space, I could imagine it being a little more Infinite. Gameplay-wise and just the way the city is set up and stuff, I guess. Both could be interesting, but I don't know, do you think that Bioshock necessarily has to have that going on for it, a city in some weird place? Do you think they have to keep doing that going forward?
Needs it, but
I think the setting is important.
Or
but it doesn't have to. I think you can get creative though.
Rapture?
It doesn't have to be. It can be creative without it being the archetype that we kind of already have built up in our heads from the first three.
What about a city that's built inside of a volcano?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen have you seen Dredd, the new Judge Dredd movie? Not new, but it's
that was a long time ago, or a good.
Yeah, but the newer version of the old one.
It seems new to me, but because I don't watch a whole lot of movies, but I could see that. It was good.
A giant building that's almost like a city in a building.
Wow, yeah.
Just one building, that could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or what if it was a big building or a big dome, and it was basically a fortress that no outside governments could get into, without permission. Basically a fortress that could defend itself, but it had a city inside of it, basically. It could be something like that. Could see that. If they want to stick with that whole a city and a society that's trying to branch away from
what if it
normal
was just a city
society.
that looked like a snow globe?
Yeah, they could do that too.
Oh, nice.
It would be cool to see the dichotomy of is it really that good to even be in? The whole thing is about being in, but is it even that good to be in? That's kind of the first Bioshock, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, what about
I could also imagine them doing another Rapture, another underwater city.
Just a second Rapture?
Right.
Just
yeah, Rapture 2.0.
a sister city to Rapture. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
What about like
Could
a Truman Show-esque type of city?
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be a weird one.
Yeah, in a big dome, whatever.
I don't know. There could be a ton of options to go from here.
I do gotta say that I am like a little skeptical about the series going forward, considering that Ken Levine is not gonna be at the helm.
Yeah, I think we all are. I think I'm at least I am.
I don't know. I'm not that worried about it. I think
No.
the final product of Infinite could have been reached by somebody else. I think
I guess
it would have been
in a
ambitious
lot of
for
ways,
someone
but
else.
I'm just not sure, like story-wise, if anyone else could have managed that. Like,
I
Yeah,
think,
I
I
mean,
think
at
it's
least not the
I don't
way it
think it's
came
that
out, like
complicated.
it-
I think
But
his
I mean-
original vision falling short is what got it there of his original vision. But I think someone doing well could have reached the same conclusion, or someone
But-
equally good.
But like you said yourself, that Bioshock 1 compared to Bioshock 2, the story was really lacking. I mean, do you think that was
yeah,
a
that's
different
true.
issue, or that wasn't related to Ken Levine
that's
not being
true.
in
See,
charge?
I thought that was a product of sticking with Rapture.
Okay,
And
that's
thinking
fair.
like, how can we
And-
make another interesting story in
Yeah.
Rapture with this, but still the same city, you know?
and,
So they
and not
probably
being
went into it
given
thinking like,
enough space
right,
to grow to make their own creative license stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe they also like kind of had to rush it too. Like maybe 2K was pressuring them to put out another game, you know, after the success of the first one, and yeah, maybe it just didn't click creatively with them. But I mean,
and
like I see your points about saying that someone could end up making a game like Bioshock Infinite, but like I just feel like Ken Levine, he's kind of the creative genius behind the whole series, isn't he? So that's why I'm a little skeptical of anyone else making a Bioshock game. That's really the only reason. But the fact that 2's story was so weak is also like maybe he's not such a genius, you know. But I don't know.
yeah.
Like I said, there could be reasons for that though. Like, doesn't necessarily mean that he's not as you know, great as a lot of people say he is in the industry. I guess. I don't know. Do you guys know
I
what
think
he's doing now?
He's a visionary,
Sorry,
but
go
at
ahead.
the same time, like 3 or Infinite really wasn't his vision. You know, that really wasn't the game he wanted to make.
Yeah,
So,
but I'd say creatively,
Like I
it
said, I
still
think
ended
someone
up
could have reached
pretty
that
awesome.
conclusion. It was good. No, I'm not saying it wasn't good, but as far as like his fingerprints on it, you know, I think it's debatable to say that, you know, he was necessary to make that particular game. You know, the game he wanted to make wasn't really the game we got.
What do you guys know what he's doing now? Like, what studio is he working for?
Yeah, he in the same interview he talked a lot about what he's working on now, and I actually just read something that it sounds a little bit different than what he was saying in the interview, but what he was saying was that like he wants to make a procedurally generated, like he wants to do for dialogue and story what people are doing for like procedural generation, you know, like
For worlds
enemies
and
and
stuff
stuff like yeah, worlds.
Wow.
Huh.
See, I'd
That's
be
fascinating. That sounds kind of
Way
I'd
he
be
was
too
explaining
af-
it
I'd be
sounded
too
like
afraid
way,
that the
way too
story would-
complicated for me to really understand. But
yeah. I'd be too afraid that the story would never end up being as good as a story that you could construct. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying.
like
It's funny. I was thinking the exact same thing. I felt like every story
Yeah.
would end up just being kind of generic.
Yeah, because there's not really
Yeah.
you need to construct a story. You can't just like throw in random stuff and hope for a good story. It's like probably like 1 out of every million is gonna be good.
Right.
True, and like I kind of feel that that's like one of the reasons I like linear games. Like, and like you know, I think you guys have probably heard the phrase with people talking about other games where you tell your own story in a certain game, and like, whenever they say that, it's like, that doesn't excite me because me telling my own story within a game is never going to be as interesting as something that some excellent writer, some creative writer could come up with and, you know, build into the game and make like a linear path to it. Like that, I mean, I've always preferred linear games and linear stories to open world, but like the whole procedural thing kind of brings me back to that whole comparison, is like linear versus open.
And I felt exactly the same way when I heard him talking about it. It is an
interesting concept, though. Like I
think
it's interesting.
And that's the other part of it too, is we really don't know what that actually is because we've never seen it.
True, very true.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, the reason why like Telltale that has like, oh, we like have like a make your own story thing, that still has like constructed highs and lows in the story. It's like a blueprint of a story, just with your own choices in the middle, because you can't really make a make your own story be as good as what someone can make is.
They give you the illusion of choice in Telltale games.
Exactly, and I mean, and like by now people know that, but they don't complain because people understand that like it's better than the alternative.
Yeah, and like I think a lot of people just appreciate the stories that Telltale usually tells. Like I don't know, like I haven't played. There's a lot of their games I haven't played, but I played Walking Dead Season 1, and I thought the story was pretty awesome. So I think that's like what a lot of people play Telltale games for, at least as far as I know. I haven't been keeping up on their games though, but it's like one of many things on the backlog, of course. But
those are some good games.
Yeah, I don't know. Thinking maybe we can wrap it up. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sure.
Good,
that's great.
It works.
Good bow to end on.
Cool. Well, yeah, we'll have to do another one of these game podcasts. I think they're always fun. But thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you next time.